Alisa, thank you so much for joining me today on the show. Introduce yourself to everybody.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alisa Gbiorczyk, and I basically hunt human traffickers. I've been doing it for about a year now, but I've been in the anti-human trafficking space for about 6 years, as well as studying it in school from a research perspective, and now being on the more combative role today.
Very cool. So, I like to educate people about human trafficking. Have people like yourself on who are in this fight every day. Tell me why you decided to join the fight against human trafficking.
Well, as a mother, I feel that this is a threat that's growing. It's always been a threat, but now it's becoming more intensified by the advancement of technology. Now that children are online all the time, so as a mother, I feel it's very important that I have a role to play in this fight. And then on a more personal level, I'm a survivor of sexual exploitation as well as human trafficking myself. So I feel like I need to stand up for those that don't have the strength or feel silenced because that was me back then. So it's kind of been my purpose and my calling in life that I apply my cyber skills to this space in order to fight down these criminal networks.
Very cool. Thank you for putting your life's work into this. I think it's amazing. You say that you hunt human traffickers. What exactly does that mean?
So I hunt them down. So basically, what I do is I identify them, I map them out. I assist law enforcement or our partners in tracking them and basically finding ways to disrupt their criminal activities. So, quite simply, I'm hunting them. I'm tracking them. I am basically assisting other people to take them down. So it's really simple, not very complex. It's kind of a sexy word, but I like it.
Yeah, that's cool. You said it. It's kind of simple. Like the average parent like me doesn't really know how to find these people to hunt them down in the first place. Do you feel comfortable in sharing with us where do you mostly find traffickers? Where does the start of the hunt begin?
Well, we're actually using these devices every single day. So the device, for example, in your hand, device, computers, anything that connects to cyberspace is basically my hunting ground. So human traffickers are using the internet. And why they're using the internet is that it is cheap. It gives them more access to people all around the world, and it's very low risk.
Mm,
However, anything with the internet, my mom even told me when I got my first phone is, hey, there's a digital footprint behind you.
mhm.
Uh, and so the same way that they go after their victims is the same way that I'm going after them. So anything that touches the internet at all, your child could be trafficked from their bedroom, exploited from their bedroom, and you wouldn't even know it. So that is basically the most important place to look as well as monitor is the
Right.
internet.
Yeah, and that's what I think a lot of parents don't understand. We just had Christmas. We're in January right now, and I'm sure a lot of kids got devices like iPads and things like that. And there a lot of parents just handed it to them and said, "Here, go have fun." I'm sure, as a 7-year-old, you're not going to do anything that's going to get you into trouble. But as you're telling us, there are people who are out there looking for that vulnerable 7-year-old online, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, you could go on any kids chat, and I didn't even think like kids still use chat rooms. I used chat rooms when I was younger, like all the
Right.
time.
Right.
And who knows who I was talking to, but like I go on them, I just see what's going on, if there's any indicators online. And yeah, there are kids online all the time, especially on gaming platforms. I'm a gamer myself. I love video games. Of course, I have to buy every single new shiny toy out there. And I got bullied on VR chat. Like me as an adult, like they're on there at 2 in the morning. These kids are very young. You can even hear their parents yelling at them through their microphones. But yeah, basically, like if kids are parents don't think it's a big risk, and if they do, they think it happens a certain way. But really, these criminals are they're experts. They know how to do the work that they do, and they do it multiple times a day. And I always say it takes just one hello
Hmm.
for everything to come crashing down. So, parents, if you think that it's not going to happen, you're already too late there. We need to kind of be more preventative on that. But it really just starts with having a good relationship with your child, giving them that opportunity to speak up about things that make them feel uncomfortable, letting them know the warning signs that are present. That's the most important part there, because it's your child that's going to make the decision to respond or not you. So yes,
Right.
it always concerns me when, I even think about my past as a child. Like, we were on the internet all the time, and that was, I mean, the internet has advanced way far beyond how it was back then. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of like you. When the internet was nothing but like, chat and the weather and sports scores, we should have just stopped right then. And that should have
yeah,
been all it
exactly.
ever was. And
Yeah.
it's gotten kind of strange now. You talked about, being a gamer. I like to game with my son. He doesn't have like the headset or anything like that. I don't want him to get involved in those conversations. So, for parents who their kids game, what are some of the warning signs that you talked about earlier? What are some of the things that our kids need to be aware of to know that, hey, this isn't a good conversation I'm involved in?
So really, it starts with, obviously setting those boundaries, initiating them. If the child feels uncomfortable, and it depends on what game you're playing. I mean, if you're going to play Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto, I think you're kind of asking for it. That's the content that's within the game system. But there, if a child is bullying you, I mean, it's becoming really intense. It's no longer child to screen. I talk about virtual reality a lot because I don't feel like it's being talked about enough.
Okay.
Um, I go in VR chat, and I even have, a kind of like a screen recording of this. There's a bunch of kids that just came up into my personal space and were yelling things, at me. And so now it's moved from psychological to physical boundaries that we need to set for our children. So the types of warning signs I would look for is, are you feeling like your personal boundaries are being crossed? Do you feel like your child is hesitating to speak about personal things in their lives? Are they sharing too much about their personal lives? Also, is your child spending more time online, chatting? Is it late at night? Is your child sneaking, I don't know, their game systems in the middle of the night when they're not supposed to be? Yes, we all did that. But these are things you want to look for on the outside as well. As has their mood changed? Has their
Hmm.
attitude towards certain things? Are they just not, feeling? Are you not feeling like they're the normal selves? These are some warning signs we need to see, and that is not only applicable to online gaming, but really in any scenario as well. Are they
Right.
spending less time with their friends? Are they spending more time? Are they chatting with one individual? Do they talk about this individual all the time? These are things you want to check up on as you go along. And there's a lot of resources out there that specialize in gaming. Right now, I'm in the research stage, but it's something that we need to start thinking about too. Is that psychological and physical now boundaries that are being crossed daily in our children's lives just from the internet.
Yeah, and that is something that I have learned recently within like the past year or so is how important boundaries are to protecting yourself. We always think about boundaries in other different ways, but to think about it from a self-defense, self-preservation way. And so I really like hearing you say that, and helping our children set those boundaries is really
Yeah.
going to help them to make better decisions. So in your professional realm, tell me a little bit more about your platform and what you're doing.
So what I'm doing right now is I am consulting for a technology company, and we're kind of changing the ways that we are identifying, tracking down and disrupting like criminal networks, human trafficking networks, as well as sexual exploitation. So I've been really working on that, as well as consulting for a couple other companies that needed some human trafficking expertise, specifically in the global realm of things, not just domestically. So my main purpose is I want to bring that global collaboration into the fight and continue to push that message forward that we need the tech side involved, we need the cyber side involved, we need our law enforcement involved, law, policy, our education systems. I even have a group of individuals that come from multiple different careers because everyone's important. And many times I get asked, hey, I really care about this issue. I really care a lot, but I, I'm a doctor, or I am a babysitter, or I am just a stay at home mom. I can't really do anything about it. So what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? And I've kind of changed my perspective on things and been like, well, we all have a part to play here. There's all different types of ways that we can contribute, equally to this fight. So I try to push the message across to others that, hey, if you want to get to work, let's get to work. Let's just do the work. And the only reason why I'm really comfortable saying that is when I started doing this work, I was in college. I didn't really know what I wanted to do in my life, and I ended up studying international relations. However, I still could not figure out where I am in all this. Am I just going to be a researcher? Is this just for school? And soon enough, like I found my path. I found the area where I feel I can make the most impact, and I ran with it this year. I just basically booked it. So I want everybody to know that even as parents, we have a role to play in watching our kids and watching our family members and friends, not just children.
Hmm.
So my platform focuses on the cyber side, the Internet of Things, on technology advancement, and also, assisting parents, parent to parent. Hey, this is what's going on. And I'm a young parent too. So it wasn't too long ago where I was one of those teenagers, and I know all the tricks. So
There you go.
I try to stay ahead of the game so that we can just stay on top of these traffickers because they are constantly changing their methods and techniques. So that's basically my platform, what I love to do. And what I'm going to continue doing for as long as possible.
Very good. Very good. You talked about, you try to work to disrupt trafficking networks. You talked about how these guys are constantly changing. Can you kind of give us a 2023 overview of what a human trafficking network looks like right now?
So it obviously it just depends. There's multiple different types of networks or traffickers. There's some that work solo, and then there are others that are maybe one or two. Then there's much larger ones, and then you also have ones that are basically in different parts. So you might have one person handling one area of the entire operation. You have a transporter. You have
Mm,
someone that goes online and as we say, grooms the individual, and then you have one that maybe watches over the victims, and then you have, I mean, if there's fake passports involved, maybe they go through another person. It really depends on what criminal network we're looking at, and then there are really small ones. I wouldn't really call them networks, but they probably network with other traffickers. But this could be through what we call the lover boy method, boyfriends that end up trafficking their girlfriends or family members. Family, like trafficking through your family, is very common. Very, very common. Same with the boyfriend method. So these are things that we're seeing. I personally, working on the global side of this issue, have seen larger criminal networks working together through Eastern Europe, Asia, Middle East. And these are criminal networks that are multifaceted. So they are, human trafficking is a nexus crime. So why not, while we're trafficking or transporting our victim, we stuff their pockets with drugs,
Hmm.
or we traffic guns, or
Right.
we, you know, these these large networks, they profit off multiple crimes at once, money laundering, So I, I haven't really worked domestically recently, but when I have been working globally, these are the networks that I am finding is the ones with multiple different operations going on at the same time. And then another thing I want to point out briefly is that yeah, people think that traffickers are all men.
Right.
And
Right.
I don't like to quote statistics because you never know if it's a
Sure.
hidden crime to begin with, but we're seeing more and more women as leading these networks. A lot of times when I've tracked down and hunted criminal networks, for example, in Eastern Europe, it's been a woman
Hmm.
leading it. So that's another thing, that misconception. People need to start seeing that, hey, they thrive off the fact that Eastern Europe is, the cultural differences and all that. These women are not going to be prosecuted as easily as men are. So they kind of take that and run with it as well. So that's something that we're seeing. These are the criminal networks that we're seeing, more and more increasingly, is that they're becoming really organized,
Right.
really good at what they do too, as well.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
If you talk about how they are profiting from multiple crimes at once, you think there's, different law enforcement agencies that are looking at them from different directions for money laundering, trafficking, and things like that. Um, in dealing with, you assist the police and what they're doing, which I think is great. Do you think the average police agency has the right training to help stop trafficking, or is this something that they're just going to have to keep learning as the year goes on?
So, in regards to law enforcement, as a whole, I'm just going to say as a whole globally, I think that everyone needs to continue to train, continue to research, continue to look at, improve our data, our analytics. Um, I continue to train. So I, by all means, I'm always learning, always trying to have discussions, hear other people's perspectives, go to different trainings, whether that be cyber trainings all the way to, survivor led trainings to, even policy. Like, it's good
Mhm.
to continue to learn. I think that law enforcement, they need help. They definitely do. They have a
Right.
lot on their plate. I have a lot of respect for them because they deal with many different crimes at once. It's a lot to deal with. And so having that training, having that continuing ed is very, very important. As well as I try to do my best in my field of work to be there to support, consult with them, and tell them what's coming before it becomes a big issue. Because they don't have time to kind of like continue to see what these networks are doing or what methods. I can be like, hey, now they're using this platform. Hey, we should check up on this, so that they can continue to do the work that they do and follow it through to an arrest. So, yes, I think we all need it. I mean, doctors need it. I
Mhm.
try to push that too. Doctors, medical professionals, and teachers, education professionals as well, they need training as well. And a lot of the focus obviously has been on law enforcement, which is great, but we all need it. We
Sure.
really all do.
Sure.
Um, but that starts with, how does my job apply to the fight? And that's the question that we need to continue to put in people's heads, and address them as such. So
Right. I like that. So, being a mom helped me bring this home. Most of my listeners here are parents. What do you want to tell them about keeping their kids safe from trafficking? What's the take home message for them?
the take home message is, maintain or establish a good and solid line of communication. What our children are dealing with today is extremely difficult to understand as a parent, and it's extremely difficult for us to figure out ways to fight it or protect our child. So the best advice I could give you all the warning signs, all the tools, all the tech. But at the end of the day, your child coming to you openly and not feeling shamed or judged is gonna save your child. It's gonna save your child's life. And yes, sometimes we want to shake our kid and be like, why did you do that? I get it. But it's better than having you shake once you get that phone call. So I, at the end of the day, our kids are developing their brains. They don't know yet right from wrong, or they don't see the consequences of their actions yet. Their brains are not fully developed. But if they come to you first before they make a decision, that's where you can step in. And that starts with having that good relationship, being involved, looking at their life, their needs, because these traffickers go after what they need. They're lonely, they know the right words to say.
Mhm.
So the best advice I could give you is communication.
Excellent. And it's great. And yes, you're absolutely right. We can't always monitor what our kids are doing online. So having that open door, having that open relationship, like you said, it's gonna save your child. That's awesome. So, Alyssa, thank you so much for being on the show. If people want to know a little bit more about you and what you're doing or how to join the fight, where do they need to go?
So you can find me on Instagram at Cyber Alisa. So CYBERALISA. I also have a website called Cyber Night Watch. So it's CYBER, and night is spelled NITE, and then watch.com. And you can check out both of those and send me a message, any questions or support you need as a parent. My door is always open to you.
Awesome. Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much.
Thank you for what you're doing. We really do appreciate it, and God bless you and your work.
Thank you. God bless you as well.